च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमस्तेऽध्याय च कूल्याय च नमः भार्याय च भार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नमः आतार्याय च लाद्याय च नमः षष्प्याय च धेन्याय च नमः शिखत्याय च प्रवाश्याय च नम इरिण्याय च प्रपथ्याय च नमः पिगुंशिलाय च शयनाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तये च नमो गोष्ट्याय च गृह्याय च नमस्तल्प्याय च गेह्याय च नमः काट्याय च गह्वरेष्ठाय च नमो हृदयाय च निवेश्याय च नमः पागुंसव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः शुष्क्याय च हरित्याय च नमो लोप्याय च लप्याय च नमः ऊर्व्याय च सूर्ण्याय च नमः पन्याय च पन्नशद्याय च नमोपगुरमाणाय चाभिघ्नते च नमः आखिलते च प्रखिलते च नमो किरिकेभ्यो देवानागुं हृदयेभ्यो नमो विक्षीणकेभ्यो नमो विचिन्वत्केभ्यो नम आनिर्हतेभ्यो नम आमीवत्केभ्यः द्रापे अन्धसस्पते दरिद्रन्नीललोहिता येषाम् पुरुषाणामेषाम् पशूनाम् माभेर्मा रोमो येषाम् किञ्चनामवत् या ते रुद्रशिवा तनूः शिवा विश्वाह भेषजी शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजी तया नो मृडजीवसे इमागुम् रुद्राय तवसे तपर्दिने शयद्वीराय प्रभरामहे मतिम् यथा नः शमसद्विपदे चतुष्पदे विश्वम् पुष्टम् ग्रामे अस्मिन्नणातुरम् मृडानो रुद्रो तनो मयस्कृधे क्षयद्वीराय नमसा विधेमते यच्छम् च योश्च मनुरायजे पिता तदश्याम तव रुद्र प्रणीतौ मानो महान्तमुतमानो अर्भकम् मान उक्षन्तमुतमान उक्षितम् मानो वदे पितरम् मोतमातरम् प्रियामानस्तनुवो रुद्ररीर्षः मानस्तोकेतनये मान आयुषिमानो गोषुमानो अश्वेषु रीरिषः वीरान्मानो रुद्रभामितो वधीरुहविष्मन्तो नमसा विधेमते आरात्ते गोघ्र उत पूरुषग्ने क्षयद्वीराय सुम्नवस्मे ते अस्तु रक्षा च नो अधि च देव ब्रूह्यराजनः शर्म यच्च विबर्हाः स्तुहि श्रुतम् गर्तसरम् युवानम् मृगन्न भीममुपहत्नुमुग्रम् मृडाचरित्रे रुद्रस्तवानो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निव पन्तु सेनाः परिणो रुद्रस्य हेतुर्वृणक्तु परित्वेषस्य दुर्मतिरघायो अमस्थिरामघवद्भ्यस्तनुष्वमेघ्वस्तोकायतनयाय मृडया मेढुष्टमशिवतमशिवो नः सुमना भवा परमे वृक्ष आयुधन्निधाय कृत्यम् वसान आचर पिनाकम् बिभ्रदागहे विकिरिदविलोहित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः यास्ते सहस्रगुंहेतयोऽन्यमस्मन्निवपन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रदा बाहुवास्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचीनामुखाकृते सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्रा अधिभूम्याम् तेषागुम् सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि अस्मिन्महत्यर्णवेऽन्तरिक्षे भवा अधि नीलग्रीवाशितिकण्ठाः शर्वा अधः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाशितिकण्ठादिवगुम् रुद्रा उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्पिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिकास कपर्दिनः ये अन्येषु विविध्यन्ति पात्रेषु पिबतो जनाय ये पथाम् पतिरक्षय ऐलभृदायव्युधः ये तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति सुकावन्तो विशङ्गिणः य एतावन्तश्च भूयागुंशश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्थिरे तेषागुम् सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्याम् येऽन्तरिक्षे ये दिवि येषामन्नम् वातो वर्षमिषवस्तेभ्यो दश प्राचीर्दश दक्षिणा दश प्रतीचीर्दशोदीचीर्दशोद्वास्तेभ्यो नमस्ते नो मृडयन्तु तेयम् विष्णो यश्च नोद्वेष्टितम् भोजम् दधामि त्र्यम्बकम् यजामहे सुगन्धिम् पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनाम् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नौ यो अप्सुय ओषधीषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा भुवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु ये ते सहस्रमयुतम् पाशा मृत्योर्मर्त्याय हन्तवे ताम् यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वानवयजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा प्राणानाम् ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्येनाप्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि तमुष्टु हि अश्विषुः सुधन्वायो विश्वस्य क्षयति भेषजस्य यक्ष्वा महेशौ मनसाय रुद्रम् नमो आभिर्देवमसुरम् दुवस्य अयम् मे हस्तो भगवानयम् मे भगवत्तरः अयम् मे विश्वभेषजो यगुम् शिवाभिमर्शनः ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः
कोटि समप्रभा
क्षेत्र निवासिने नमः। ओम श्री साई यशकाय श्रीनिवासिने नमः। ओम श्री साई ज्योतियादिपल्ली सोमपाय नमः। ओम श्री साई भरद्वाज ऋषि गोत्राय नमः। ओम श्री साई भक्तवत्सलाय नमः। ओम श्री साई अपान्तरात्मने नमः। ओम श्री साई अवतारमूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री साई सर्वभयनिवारिणे नमः। ओम श्री साई स्तंभसूत्राय नमः। ओम श्री साई अभयप्रदाय नमः। ओम श्री साई रत्नाकरवंशोद्भवाय नमः। ओम श्री साई शिरडी साई अभेद शक्ति अवताराय नमः। ओम श्री साई शंकराय नमः। ओम श्री साई शिरडी साई मूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री साई द्वारका माई वासिने नमः। ओम श्री साई चित्रावती तटपुटपट्टि विहारिणे नमः। ओम श्री साई शक्तिप्रदाय नमः। ओम श्री साई शरणागत त्राणाय नमः। ओम श्री साई आर्तत्राणपरायणाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई अनाथनाथाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई असहाय सहायाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई लोकबान्धवाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई लोकरक्षापरायणाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई लोकनाथाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई दीनजनपोषणाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई मूर्तित्रय स्वरूपाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई मुक्तिप्रदाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई कलुषविदुराय नमः। ॐ श्री साई करुणाकराय नमः। ॐ श्री साई सर्वाधाराय नमः। ॐ श्री साई सर्वहृदयवासिने नमः। ॐ श्री साई पुण्यफलप्रदाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई सर्वपापक्षयकराय नमः। ॐ श्री साई सर्वरोगनिवारिणे नमः। ॐ श्री साई सर्वबाधाहराय नमः। ॐ श्री साई अनन्तनूतकर्तृणे नमः। ॐ श्री साई आदिपुरुषाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई आदिशक्तये नमः। ॐ श्री साई अपरूपशक्तिने नमः। ॐ श्री साई अव्यक्तरूपिणे नमः। ॐ श्री साई कामक्रोधध्वंसिने नमः। ॐ श्री साई कनकाम्बरधारिणे नमः। ॐ श्री साई अद्भुतचर्याय नमः। ॐ श्री साई आपद्बान्धवाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई प्रेमात्मने नमः। ॐ श्री साई प्रेममूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्री साई प्रेमप्रदाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई प्रियाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई भक्तप्रियाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई भक्तमन्दाराय नमः। ॐ श्री साई भक्तजनहृदय विहाराय नमः। ॐ श्री साई भक्तजनहृदयालयाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई भक्तपराधीनाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई भक्तिज्ञानप्रदीपाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई भक्तिज्ञानप्रदाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई सुज्ञानमार्गदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई ज्ञानस्वरूपाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई गीताबोधकाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई ज्ञानसिद्धिदाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई सुन्दररूपाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई पुण्यपुरुषाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई फलप्रदाय नमः। ॐ श्री साई पुरुषोत्तम साई सिद्ध संकल्पाय नमः। ओम श्री साई आरोग्यप्रदाय नमः। ओम श्री साई अन्नवस्त्रदाय नमः। ओम श्री साई संसार दुख क्षयकराय नमः। ओम श्री साई सर्वाभीष्टप्रदाय नमः। ओम श्री साई कल्याणगुणाय नमः। ओम श्री साई कर्मध्वंसिने नमः। ओम श्री साई साधुमानसशोभिताय नमः। ओम श्री साई सर्वमतसम्मताय नमः। ओम श्री साई साधुमानसपरिशोधकाय नमः। ओम श्री साई साधकनुग्रहवटवृक्षप्रतिष्ठापकाय नमः। ओम श्री साई सकलसंशयहराय नमः। ओम श्री साई सकलतत्त्वबोधकाय नमः। ओम श्री साई योगेश्वराय नमः। ओम श्री साई योगीन्द्रवन्दिताय नमः। ओम श्री साई सर्वमंगलकराय नमः। ओम श्री साई सर्वसिद्धिप्रदाय नमः। ओम श्री साई आपन्निवारिणे नमः। ओम श्री साई आरती हराय नमः। ओम श्री साई शांतमूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री साई सुलभप्रसन्नाय नमः। ओम श्री साई श्री भगवान सत्य साई बाबाय नमः।
पशुपति तनया बाल गजानन। पशुपति तनया बाल गजानन। तुम हो विघ्न विनाशा गणेशा। तुम हो विघ्न विनाशा। हे शिवनंदन बाल गजानन। हे शिवनंदन बाल गजानन। विद्या बुद्धि प्रदाता। विद्या बुद्धि प्रदाता। विद्या बुद्धि प्रदाता। मंगल कर हे मंगल कर हे। मंगल कर हे मंगल कर हे। मंगल कर हे। साई गणेश गणेश
सुंदर साई गणेश गणेश
सुंदर साई गणेश पशुपति तनया बाल गजानन तुम हो विघ्न विनाशा हे शिवनंदन बाल गजानन विद्या बुद्धि प्रदाता मंगल कर हे मंगल कर हे सुंदर साई गणेश गणेश
सुंदर साई गणेश गणेश
सुंदर साई गणेश पशुपति तनया बाल गजानन ब्रह्मांड नायका बाबा प्रतिपुरीश्वर बाबा
नायका बाबा बाबा
ब्रह्मांड नायका बाबा प्रतिपुरीश्वर बाबा
नायका बाबा प्रतिपुरीश्वर बाबा
चांद और सूरज तुमने बनाए नदियाँ सागर तुमने बनाए
सागर तुमने बनाए
नदियाँ सागर तुमने बनाए
सागर तुमने बनाए
ब्रह्मांड नायका बाबा प्रतिपुरीश्वर बाबा
ब्रह्मांड नायका बाबा प्रतिपुरीश्वर बाबा
अयोध्या नगरी तुमने बनाई द्वारका नगरी तुमने बसाई
अयोध्या नगरी तुमने बनाई द्वारका नगरी तुमने बनाई
अयोध्या नगरी तुमने बनाई द्वारका नगरी तुमने बसाई
अयोध्या नगरी तुमने बनाई द्वारका नगरी तुमने बसाई
शिरडी परती तुमने बनाई
शिरडी पति तुमने
शिरडी पति तुमने
बनाए
बनाए
शिरडी पति तुमने बनाए
ब्रह्मांड नायका बाबा प्रतिपुरीश्वर बाबा
ब्रह्मांड नायका बाबा प्रतिपुरीश्वर
सूरज तुमने बनाए,
चांद और सूरज तुमने बनाए,
नदियाँ सागर तुमने बनाए,
नदियाँ सागर तुमने बनाए,
नदियाँ सागर तुमने बनाए,
नदियाँ सागर तुमने बनाए,
अयोध्या नगरी तुमने बनाई, द्वारका नगरी तुमने बसाई,
अयोध्या नगरी तुमने बनाई, द्वारका नगरी तुमने बसाई,
शिरडी परती तुमने बनाई,
शिरडी परती तुमने बनाई,
शिरडी परती तुमने बनाई,
शिरडी परती तुमने बनाई,
ब्रह्मांड नायका बाबा प्रतिपुरीश्वर बाबा। कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायणा,
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण,
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायणा,
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण,
माधवा केशवा हरिनारायण, माधवा केशवा हरिनारायण, कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायणा,
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण,
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण,
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण,
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण,
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण,
माधवा मधुसूदना नारायणा, माधवा मधुसूदना नारायणा, कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायणा,
राम गोविंद नारायण,
माधवा केशवा हरि नारायण,
माधवा केशव हरि नारायण,
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायणा,
राम गोविंद नारायण,
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण,
वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण,
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण,
वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण,
माधवा मधुसूदना नारायणा, माधवा मधुसूदना नारायणा, कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायणा।
Sairam, everyone. We would like to acknowledge the Sri Satya Sai Baba Center of Adwa Carlton today resides on the unceded traditional Algonquin territory. We respect both the land and the people of this land, including all the indigenous people who have walked in this place. Welcome everyone to this wonderful event. I'm so happy to introduce Sister Lakshmi as well as Brother Shrikant here today. They both have amazing resume. I think it will take about half an hour to introduce them, but I'm going to try to touch upon the highlights today. Sister Lakshmi Vyakaran, her early days started from Bangalore. She has been a student of Bal Vikas, which is the very beginning days of Bal Vikas. Currently, she also works as a National Women's Coordinator for SSIO USA. Again, Sister Lakshmi has spent pretty much all her life for education. She is, by profession, she is an educational specialist working for special needs children, especially for autism spectrum disorder. She has gained her university education in Bangalore and Andhra Pradesh University, and to add to that, she was also a gold medalist during her bachelor's and master's. And currently, before moving to US, she was a principal at Delhi Public School at Faridabad. Even after leaving from there, she is currently working with Delhi Public School in formulating their curriculum for special needs children. She has spent so many years of her life, she has sacrificed to children and education. Just to add more to her achievement, she was also a state-level player who has participated in volleyball and cricket during her younger years. We are so happy to have you here. Hopefully you can share all your experiences being part of what you have learned in your career with our SSE gurus as well as our congregation. Welcome, sister. Brother Shrikant, his early days started from Chennai. And I believe growing up in Chennai, he's also started participating in SSE-related activities from a very young age. He joined Prashanti Nilayam from his middle school, I believe, sometime in grade 6 or grade 7, and he's continued there until his master's graduation in physics. So during that time, he's had so many opportunities to sing bhajans in front of Swami and participate in plays, as well as speak and in front of Swami. So we are hoping to hear some of his wonderful experiences during these 2 days that they are going to be talking to us. After his graduation, he moved to US to do his master's in electrical engineering. And then he's an accomplished speaker, and he's participated in many SSEO events as well. Currently, he's a National Devotional Coordinator for USA. Welcome, brother. We hope to enjoy some of your stories. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
With utmost humility, gratitude, and love, I offer myself at the divine reverential lotus feet of our beloved, omnipresent Lord, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Respected elders, dear sisters and brothers, loving Sai Ram to each and every one of you. I'm extremely grateful to Swami for giving me this opportunity to be in satsang with all of you. I'm also very thankful to the leadership for inviting me here today. Swami has his own unique ways of drawing each of us to himself. My family was introduced to Swami through my paternal aunt. In the year 1963-64, Swami made a tour to Andhra Pradesh, all the coastal areas. My paternal aunt's family lived in a town called Rajahmundry, near Godavari, on the bank of the river Godavari. They were ardent devotees of Shirdi Baba. So when they learned that Swami is coming to Rajahmundry, they did not want to participate. They were quite a famous and a popular family in the area, and their absence was noted. By whom? By Swami. So after the meeting, after his talk, on the way out, Swami passed their house, and my aunt's mother was standing outside. And then he called her out in Telugu and said, "Yen Narsamma Bhaunava," meant, "Oh Narsamma, hope you are doing well." She was shocked. She was not introduced to him. She did not attend the meeting. And how does he know my name? She invited Swami inside, and then they had a long chat. Swami revealed to her that I know a lot about your family because I'm the same Shirdi Baba in a different body. So after that, my aunt's mother went to Prashanti Nilayam, and then she also had a house there. Swami gave her an apartment, and then of course the rest follows. She did not leave Prashanti Nilayam. And we as young children also would go to that house, and then we would stay in that house whenever we visited Swami. So my paternal aunt and uncle, they moved from Delhi to Bangalore. They relocated because in the 60s, early 70s, Swami used to visit Vrindavan Ashram a lot. He would spend the summer there. And of course, Puttaparthi is closer to Bangalore. So when they came to Bangalore, she started narrating so many experiences about Swami and all that her family had gone through with Swami. So that really drew my mom first. My father was a skeptic. He was working for the Central Bureau of Investigation, and he said, "I won't believe in all these Babas." But then Swami had his own way of drawing him too. So we finally visited Swami in Vrindavan Ashram, summer 1968. My aunt introduced us, me and my mom on the ladies' side and my uncle. And Swami said, "Glad you're here, santosham, santosham." And so that was the beginning of our journey. And of course, we lost no time. We joined the Sai centers. We lived in Malleshwaram, Bangalore. So we had Vayali Kaval Center on one side, and then Malleshwaram Sai Center on the other side. They were called as Samitis in India in those days. The Malleshwaram Sai Center was quite popular because it was in the house of dentist Dr. Chandar. And Swami often used to visit their house. And word would quickly spread around, and then we would go and have his darshan there, very informally, sitting in a small room, 20 feet by 10 feet. So that was the initial beginning. And then, of course, my mom lost no time in enrolling us in the SSC program. And our teachers were just so fantastic. We were really attracted to our teachers, and they guided us. And later on, now I understand the meaning of having secular and spiritual education together, and how important it is to have the spiritual peace along with the secular education which we all go through universities and colleges and all postdoc and all that. So I also prefer speaking about all those experiences in my formative years, because I think that is what has shaped my journey of life with Bhagavan. We used to do service. At that young age, we got introduced to bhajans, chanting, and service. And I'm sure all of you agree with me, neuroplasticity, right? All those neurons get connected, those early formative years, and then they stay with you, they will not go. Even if in the middle, somewhere you kind of deviate from it, because of education, family, kids, you'll immediately come back because those seeds that are sown are so strong in those formative years. So in mid-70s, Swami decided to perform Upanayanam to young boys. My brother was around 10 years old. I was 11, 12 years old. And my parents thought that my brother would be a good candidate for that. And so we requested Swami, and then his name got on the list. In those days, there were no emails, no WhatsApp. It's just the word of the mouth. Announcements would be made in the Vrindavan ashram after the bhajan. Initial years, there were no mics even. We used to strain our ears to listen to those bhajans. And then once the convener makes the announcement in the ashram, then of course the Samiti conveners make them at their centers, local centers. So there was an orientation. Swami decided the date, time, and then Sri Kamavadhani, a Vedic scholar who was very close to Swami in those days, performed the puja for that Upanayanam ceremony. And we were all told what you had to bring, and then what's the attire the boy and then the father had to wear. All those were specified to us. And so we had everything, and then we went. My family, though we were a middle-class family, we wanted the best for Swami. So my father thought that we should buy a sandalwood garland for him. So Karnataka is very famous for sandalwood, and the local handicrafts, they would make wonderful garlands from the shavings of the sandalwood. During the orientation, they did tell us that Swami would give the Yagnopavitam, and he would also feed us after the Upanayanam ceremony. So my parents thought that my brother would be getting the Upanayanam, the thread from Swami, so they thought I should have a role, and I should be the one to garland Swami. But unfortunately, we could not get a sandalwood garland for him. Ended up buying a flower garland from just that flower lady outside the ashram gate. We went for the ceremony. It was a beautiful one. We got wonderful seating. We had to sit as a family, not separate ladies and gents, because the rituals had to be performed by both the parents for the Upanayanam, Brahmopadesham as it is called, where the boy would be initiated into Gayatri Mantra. So after the ceremony was over, Swami was coming to each family. And then he would bless the boy, and then we would all get Pada Namaskar, and he would bless all of us. So when he came to my family, I had my simple flower garland, not very happy with it, and then garlanded Swami with that. He accepted my garland, but previously somebody else had garlanded him with the sandalwood shavings garland. Then he took out that garland and then gave it to me, and then he said, "Teeskopoi na photo kesko intlo." What that meant was, take this garland home and put it on my picture in your house. As a little girl, 12, 13 years old, you can imagine my joy knew no bounds, because I gave a simple flower garland to Bhagavan, and in turn, I got a sandalwood garland, which my family has been thinking about it, but it really did not happen. So that experience was very profound. What actually struck me in that experience, I think, was the omniscience. How did he know that we wanted a sandalwood garland for Bhagavan? So that is a picture of my Balvikas group with Bhagavan in Vrindavan. I'm there towards the end. It's hard to recognize, make a connection. There's my brother and myself. And then this is the sandalwood garland which Bhagavan gave me. With one experience, Swami drives home so many lessons. The first thing was, I will accept whatever you give me, a simple flower garland. And the second thing was, you get much more than what you give, right? You get a sandalwood garland back. A little girl, what else will go on in the mind at that time? And then, more than anything else, the most important thing, which stays even with me today, is the omniscience and omnipresence of Bhagavan. As kids, we used to go to Bal Vikas, right? From 68 onwards, in the initial years of its formation, we had Professor Gokak, G.P. Rajaratnam, all these as our Bal Vikas teachers. They used to come once in a while, and then they used to lecture in our Bal Vikas sessions. How did he know? We learned all these as concepts, omniscience, omnipresence, omnipotent Bhagavan. But then, when it hits you in the face, that's when it becomes a reality. Otherwise, it's all in theory. You cannot even, it's there intellectually, but when you experience it, it's a different feeling, right? So the omniscience, omnipresence of Lord, divinity, is what struck me at that point. And I think that had a profound experience in whatever I did from then onwards. Like I said, oh, I have to be careful because he knows what's going on in my head as a little girl. And he knows what we are thinking as a family, what we are talking as a family. So that was an important lesson for me. And then, of course, you know, as it happens in India, you have all these aunties and uncles around you, and then they keep asking what happened and how it happened, and you get their interpretations as well, you know. So think well, you know. Don't think anything which is not appropriate. So you get all those kinds of lessons. So that just one experience, and that close cultural bonding which we had with all the other Sai families also was very important growing up, because each one had an opinion, each one had an interpretation of that particular experience of yours. Kind of that also rounds off all the sharp edges in your personality growing up. Talking about these divine experiences, 1978, June, summer showers, Swami tells that all experiences are divine. And he has this wonderful small analogy with a mango tree. There's a sweet mango tree. As soon as the pollination is done, you have these little mangoes, very young mangoes, which are very sour. You taste them, it is sour. So, is it right if you classify them as sour mango tree? That's not right. And then, after a while, more maturity, then they become sweet and sour. Further, some more time, they become extremely sweet mangoes, right? So Swami says that's why every experience you remember, relive, recount. Over a period of time, you will understand all experiences are very sweet. Everybody's experiences are very sweet. And everybody has all these experiences. It just depends on you to tune into that. So I was, with all this grace, with all these aunties, you know, they say personalities don't unfold in isolation. They say, right, it takes a village to raise a kid. So all these aunties, uncles, everybody talking about Swami, and then, you know, you have that general environment. Started doing well in both academics and sports in the middle school. We used to go to Parthi for Dashera and birthday celebrations. Otherwise, most of the time, our Saturdays and weekends were all with Swami in Vrindavan. There was no other agenda on the weekends. No movies, no eating out, nothing. So that was the life I had as a kid. So I was interested in 100 meters and 200 meters sprint running. I did well. As I entered 9th grade, my sports teachers thought that I had a good chance at Bangalore High School athletic competition. So that was the 3 days. My parents were only worried because I would be missing 3 days of school. Otherwise, they were okay. So I just went, and I myself didn't think. Nobody thought I would get any position there, because I was ninth grade participating with the 12th graders, right? I did, but then I won that championship. And then, so once you finish the Bangalore schools, your next step would be Karnataka State. You have to qualify in the state athletic championship. That meant staying overnight with the team, and 5 days, 2 days of travel, 3 days meet. My parents said, no, nothing doing. You cannot go. We cannot let you go and stay overnight somewhere else. A teenager, 9th grade. My sports teachers came home. They were worried that the 4 into 100 meters relay team would be impacted if I didn't go. So that was their point. And they also came and told my parents that proficiency in sports also is good, because that will also help in future college admissions, which my parents were not aware. So that was a catch. But then the general popular group psychology of the social group we were all moving around in those days, the general notion was, if you're good in sports, you're not good in studies. Or sometimes works the other way around. Because you're not good in studies, you went to sports. So it was a difficult situation for my parents. Very different, middle class family, conservative, South Indian, Brahmin family. They couldn't imagine their daughter running in shorts somewhere, right? So my parents had a hard time making the decision. And then, of course, Bal Vikas and all this, as I said, being in satsang, being with that Sai family, we decided, why don't we go and take Swami's darshan? Let's do that. I wrote a letter to Swami. My mom and my brother couldn't come, so it was me and my dad. We went. We were a little late. So as soon as Swami would come out of his residence in Vrindavan Ashram, comes out of the gate, there were generally 2 paths that he would take. So one was just along the periphery on that side, or one was straight, he would come to the Krishna statue that would be under the peepal tree. My generation people will know what I'm talking about. And so that day, I was somewhere in the end, and then Swami came from the gate, and he straight came to me. He took my letter. My prayers were answered, so I was okay. He went to my dad. My dad, you know, he's a strong personality. And so he went, and then he also gave Pad Namaskar to my dad. And sometimes when you see Swami, no words come out of your mouth, right? You just go blank. And so both of us, we were very happy. We came home, and then we knew that I had the approval of Bhagavan, the guidance of Bhagavan, because he took my letter. So I did go and participate in the Karnataka State Athletic Championship, made it there. And then next step was to go to the South Zone. South Zone is called as Madras region. Next slide. In those days, they did not call it South Zone. They would call it as Madras region. That's how they would all know. So went to that. Again, the same routine we followed. Because now when you represent South Zone, when you go for these meetings, the state will have a coaching camp. They will want to find your skills, you know, because obviously they want you to do well. 100 meters, 200 meters, very important. Sprinting, because that involves also the 4 into 100 meters relay. So they will want some time for that. So the stay would also get longer with each of these meets. First one will be in September, second is October, November, and finally the national championship in December. So you can imagine. When school is in full swing, you'll have to miss school, and then you'll have to go to all these camps. My father, they had their own apprehensions about it. But anyhow, Swami's guidance there helped with making these decisions. My mom and dad were getting parental training from Swami, and then I was getting his guidance as a teenager. So that's how we were able to navigate that particular journey of how I could participate in these sports activities. So went for the Madras region meet, made it there, and then went to the nationals in Delhi, and then did win there also. So this was a tradition and a culture somehow I established within me as well. You know, like going to Swami, seeking his guidance, and then getting his approval, and then participating. Because it was working. So that is how Swami guided Then I also participated in the 10th class, same thing, same routine again. And again, 10th class, the catch was also we were having the board exams, CBSE. I studied in the CBSE school, Kendriya Vidyalaya, central schools as they are called. So there was this, okay, it's a board going class, so do you participate? Again, seek Swami's guidance. And Swami continuously was kind of approving, all the letters were taken. So behind each of these, the experience may be in any shape, size, or form. There is a reality behind all these material veil, right? For example, the first one was sandalwood garland. I got a sandalwood garland. Behind that was the lesson on omniscience and omnipotence and omnipresence of divinity. Same thing. These sports, they were just the physical platform that made me self-confident, and that faith, that inner connection with Bhagavan, inner connection with divinity, faith in yourself. It was not easy to navigate that path because, young girl, I'm the only odd one. And more than anything else, even at the sports camp, believe me when I say this, I was the only vegetarian most of the time. So food was difficult. But still, that's why every time my family also, oh my God, she's going in this direction. What will she study? What will her future look like? You can imagine what we all will go through, what my family went through. But then his constant guidance. I think the spiritual lessons are hidden behind this material and the physical transaction that happens, the inner connection with Swami, establishing that tradition that I have to seek his guidance for any important decision that I'm making in my life in the future. So those lessons were important, and that's what stayed with me. So because of this performance in sports, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, I got the scholarship from National Institute of Sports, Patiala. And so 12th grade, there was a chance for me to get complete free education and boarding facilities if I continued with Bachelor in Physical Education at the National Institute of Sports, Patiala. My father asked me, that way my parents were very democratic. They would ask, what do you want to do? Which way do you want to go? But then I did decide, until and unless I made changes to my diet, I would not survive in the field of sports. It's just impossible. So I told my dad, no, I don't want to pursue this career, though I have these scholarships. But then there is peer pressure, right, from your friends and from the teachers in the school, and you're kind of a celebrity, and now you also want to keep up with that, that little thing that works in the mind. So 12th grade also, my parents as well as my teacher said, it's okay, you don't have to go for future studies in physical education, but you can still participate in these activities. But then Swami won't even look at me. You go for the darshan, Swami will not look at me. And so that was a clear indication. So 12th grade, absolutely no sports. So that's how he guided me during those years, which were really difficult to navigate. It's only because of his grace that we were able to navigate that path. A funny incident happened in my 10th grade. After the first exam, I lost my hall ticket. And I was really, of course, very upset. And of course, where do you go? You go to Swami. My father was a very cautious man. And so he had a photocopy of my hall ticket. I folded that, on top of it a vibhuti packet, so that Swami should not think it's a letter and take it away, because that's the only thing I had. And then Swami came and blessed. And then rest of the exams I wrote just with that photocopy. And I was really very nervous. The reason being, for the board exams, you don't write the exams in the same school that you study. Board exams are always at a different center, a different location altogether. So that is how Swami was continuously a part of my family and the journey. Another incident that I recall is my father was pickpocketed at the Vrindavan ashram. So in Vrindavan ashram, The routine would be Swami would come for the evening darshan, and there would be Krishna statue, and there would be prasad that would be kept there. The prasad would be flat rice poha with jaggery in it. And he would sit on the chair for some bhajans. And then towards the end, he would take the prasad. So as soon as Swami would leave, there would be a rush to the Sevadal to get the prasad. So it was during that time my father was pickpocketed and he lost 30 rupees. 30 rupees in those days was very valuable for a middle-class family. And my parents were totally okay with it. They were like, oh, it's okay, it happened in the ashram, that's fine. Maybe somebody else wanted it more than we did. And we realized it only when we got onto the bus to go home. My mom had some money, and so we went home. But then I was not okay with it. I was that questioning, how can it happen, Swami, in your presence, in your own residence? Then why do you allow these robbers to be there? And you know that ours is a very middle-class family, right? You could have taken that money from some other rich family that was there. Why us in the process? So all these questions were bothering me, but then after a while, forgot about it. After 3 or 4 months, I and my father again went for a darshan. When we went for darshan, after the darshan is over, walking towards the shoes, there were no shoe racks. So you enter Vrindavan ashram, to the left, ladies have to leave their shoes, and to the right, it would be the men. And then there was also a small restroom towards this side. So you just leave the shoes on the sand, and then you go for darshan. Ashram would be beautiful in those days, with the red flame trees, the gulmahar trees. There would be monkeys, there would be deers that would walk in. Fantastic. So as I was walking towards the shoes, I found a 10 rupee note on the sand. I picked it up, walk a few more steps, another 10 rupee note, and a few more steps, another 10 rupee note. And all these three had consecutive numbers, very fresh notes. Just picked them up, went and met my dad, and then I said, this is what I found. My dad said, did you have it? I said, no, I didn't have it. So we stood there near the gate and started asking people around that if anybody had lost the money. Nobody was claiming that money. And there was an old man who came to us, and then he kind of in a very dominating voice, he said, Swami has given it to you, take that money and go out of the gate. So we walked out of the gate. That is when it stuck in my head. Oh, we lost same exact 30 rupees. And then it has come back. So Swami will answer all those questions. It depends, I guess, on the intensity of prayer, the power and the intensity with which you yearn for something, and then he will give it to you. So we moved to this country in 2001, and we got a house in California, 2004, a 4-bedroom house. And then as we were going through this process, it was going on in my mind, because for everything, I've gone to Swami. I was pregnant, I went to Swami. With my kids, I went to Swami. College, all those education portals, when I entered, I went to Swami. So I was thinking in my head, like, Swami, I'm so far off, there's no way I can come. But then Swami has his own way of making his presence known to you. So what happened, we had organized a formal puja, and just the previous night, there was a knock on the door in the night, and there was a young Indian girl standing there with a gift bag. And then she said, Auntie, my mom sent this to you from Parthi. So this young Indian girl lived a few blocks away from my apartment, and her parents were there for Shivaratri. So I met them once during the morning walk, and then they wanted a ride to the Sai Center. So it was just a one-time interaction. She dropped her parents at my house, picked them up after the bhajan. And what came in that gift bag was vibhuti, and then a picture of Swami in the shape of a house, and then a sari. The picture and the sari had that little label at the back, Puttavarthi. So from a physical approval of Swami, physical guidance, moved away, and then you get the remote guidance. No matter what, no matter how we pray to him, he's always available to us. Another incident was like when my father was working for Central Bureau of Investigation, and then a post that was 2 levels high was advertised, and then he wanted to apply, and so my father wrote a letter to Swami, and then he did not come on that day. So I went with some auntie, and then Swami took the letter, and then we came home and told him he cleared all the exams, he cleared the interview. But then when the posting came, there was a letter of rejection. Said, you're not approved. My parents were like, oh, whatever Swami wills will happen. And, but then after a week or so, there was another letter that said that was sent to you by mistake. So when Swami decides, and when you have that faith in whatever he does, it will definitely work in your favor. All these experiences, sum total is that faith in divinity, faith in Swami, faith in that guidance, and that inner connection has reshaped my thinking, and then developed a lot of being on the spiritual path has helped me to also self-audit sometimes. You know, sometimes you have to audit yourself, like what is happening here, step back, rethink. And it's also important that we don't miss any of these experiences we have with Swami, because that is nothing but an upgradation in our fortune. We are so fortunate to be in his fold, to be having all these experiences. I think I'm going to stop here. Thank you all so much for listening so patiently. I hope I'm good on time. Yeah. Thank you.
Offering my most prayerful salutations at Swami's lotus feet. It was beautiful to listen to Sister Lakshmi. Though slightly older than me in age, you'll see some of the photos I will share. I think I have similar pathways, particularly in sports. And Swami has interesting ways where he looks for excellence in all that we do. It is not just the bhajan singing or Veda chanting or the spiritual part of it, even the regular part of life. I think Swami always encouraged us to be excellent in our studies, be it sports, be it music, be whatever else. And those are good life lessons, because when you pick it up early, I think you keep it going for the rest of your life. All right, so with that, started with this picture of Swami. Today you'll see quite a few of the pictures here as we speak to the experiences. Hopefully there is plenty of, obviously, gratitude and learning from all these experiences, but at the same time, these are things all of us can learn from. And more so, I want to make sure that I highlight what Swami said in those occasions or those times so that we can all learn from it. This is a typical, Sister Lakshmi just spoke about Brindavan. This is the Kalyana Mandapam, which is in the Whitefield campus. Some of you may have been there. And this is how Swami, apart from being in Trai Brindavan itself, which is his residence, he used to sit with the students and talk to them. This is another place where it's called Kalyana Mandapam because a lot of the weddings used to take place there. And Swami used to personally perform the weddings, but it was also used for different types of events. This is one such occasion where all of us are sitting around him. And I particularly put this picture because Swami, this beautiful avatar, which we are celebrating his 100th year this year, He came down and he gave himself in full. And this picture is a very physical symbolism of that. People are all over, right? Is standing behind him, in front of him. And this interaction was amazing. And sometimes I used to always wonder in the interview room, which is so small. 60 people used to fit, 100 people used to fit. It's just like how it seems to expand. Because to be close to Swami, I think everybody makes space. So this is the typical experience of where you would sit and Swami would not only have the highest of conversations, but also simple life things. I mean, I'm sure you've heard from different people about food in the hostel or somebody's grades versus, some things like that. So he was always interested from everything commonplace to the highest of philosophies. All right. As I go along, you'll also see a few quotes from Swami because in the process of reliving and enjoying these experiences, it's also important for us to think of, particularly this year, when we celebrate 100 years of Swami, I think 60 years of the organization in the West, right? The original Indian organization was set up in 1965. A little later came the Western organization where people were forming in small groups in different parts of the world. And so this year happens to be the 60 years of that as well. So at that point, it's sort of good to think, look back, what Swami has said about these different things. So this is Swami's quote. I have a task to foster all mankind and ensure for all of them lives full of bliss or ananda. I have a vow to lead all who stray away from the straight path again into goodness and save them. I am attached to a work that I love to remove the sufferings of the poor and grant them what they lack. I have a reason to be proud, for I rescue all who worship and adore me. I have my definition of the word devotion. I expect those devoted to me to treat joy and grief, gain and loss with equal fortitude. This means that I will never give up those who attach themselves to me. This was a letter written by Swami in 1947, at a time when nobody in the world believed, who he was. His own family didn't believe him, right? And that is when Swami, he held on to this conviction of the purpose why he came on this earth. One more important letter. This is in Swami's handwriting here. So this is written in 1973. Swami says, my dear, have you got any spiritual hunger? Spiritual hunger is the ultimate meaning of every activity in life. The dissatisfaction and the restlessness that remain, even after obtaining all the necessities of life, show that everyone, consciously or unconsciously, does suffer from spiritual hunger. And it is not appeased until the spirit within is realized. Without this divine discontent, there is no real progress. World peace is possible when all the people of the world wake up to the facts governing universal life, and when there is a heart-to-heart feeling of goodness, love, and oneness among the inhabitants of the world. With blessings, Sri Satya Sai Baba. It's almost like a blueprint of, why we come to Sai centers. It is very important for us to think, we come for bhajans, we come for SSC activities. Somewhere it is the connection to Swami, somewhere it is the connection or this divine discontent which Swami speaks about. Because in spite of having everything in life, you want to lean on something, for good or bad. And I think it is very important as Sai devotees to nurture that divine discontent. That is the only way we will strengthen our connection with Swami. So in the myriad activities which all of us as coordinators, as devotees of Swami, get involved with the centers, and we do plenty of nice things with the hope that the satsang will allow each of us to continue to build our connection with Swami. And I think that is very, very important to keep in mind, because Swami intentionally puts us in these kinds of situations, congregations, be it in the school there, be it in the samitis here. Not everybody agrees with everybody on everything. That is the way it is. And the reason is, hopefully, like Sister Lakshmi said, when you rub off on each other, you make each other smooth, right? And it's very important that in the process, we continue to keep that connection with Him. That is the only reason we have all come. Rest of the friendships, rest of everything else is secondary. No doubt it provides us good satsang. All right, I will start with my own Balvika story because it looks like a lot of children are here, and that is always seems to be the easiest way to Swami, because when your innocent mind is sort of brought into that space by Swami or your family, I think it just makes life simple. So in my case, before I go into this, quickly will give you a brief summary. So my grandparents, for the first time, saw Swami in the early 60s in Chennai. And those times, you must have all heard the story. Swami used to go to Chennai often enough, Madras as it was called then. And he used to drive his own car and go. And sometimes he used to get there in 4 hours and 6 hours and things like that. People were always wondering whether he was speeding so fast, right? So going from Puttaparthi. So, and there is also the story that the Road Transport Commissioner had seen Swami drive the car well, that he gave him his first driver's license. If you go back and read Satyam Shivam Sundaram, you will see that story. So my grandparents, they used to go to different Swamijis, and they were very pious that way, and they were very interested in a spiritual way of life. And my father at the time was not even married. They were on the way to see a particular Swamiji in Chennai, and they had read in the newspaper that Satya Sai Baba was visiting Madras at that time. So on the way there, my father asked if he could stop by and see Swami. So they were driving a car, so they luckily could get there on time. And as soon as they entered the premises where Swami was, the song Pavana Purusha Saisha, I think some of you may know that. That used to be the old Arati song before Om Jai Jagadisha Hare came to be sung. And that song was going on, Swami was taking the Arati, and at that time Swami used to take garlands, like Sister Lakshmi was saying. People used to garland him, he used to take a lot of garlands. And that was the event, somebody garlanded and the Arati was being given to him. It was the first time they saw Swami. They were very enamored. My grandmother particularly went up and picked up whatever literature was available at that time about Swami. Books were not formally even available at that time. And she picked up, read about it, and then locally as a samiti, they started meeting in the neighborhood they lived in Madras. And in this house, at that time Swami says his own life was, broken up into, different facets. One being a time when he would perform a lot of miracles, chamatkars, right? With the idea being that hopefully those miracles bring us to him, eventually hoping he can give us what he has come to give us. So in this house, there used to be plenty of miracles which used to occur, and all the traditional vibhuti and kumkum and all that used to come. And apart from that, there used to be also letters which used to appear at the altar. At the beginning of the bhajan, it would not be there. At the end of the bhajan, when you go up there, there will be letters addressed to specific individuals lying at the feet of Swami's photograph. So this, very appealing. When I think back, we were not part of those times. But anyway, so in this house, Swami, the family which lived in that house, no matter to whom the letter was addressed, and once that person read the letter, they would save off those letters in the altar itself. So one day my grandmother, in her own thought, she didn't write or tell anybody, she was like, at least Swami, the letter you are mentioning me and talking about me, is there a way I can take that letter back with me home? That was the thing in her mind. And that day there was the letter, and it said, Idai eduthuko. In Tamil it was written saying, take it with you home. And even today we have that letter at home. So this was the way Swami was personally building connection with her and with the family. Another day, I think she was feeling very sick and did not get to the bhajan, and or she did get to the bhajan, but she was having a headache or something like that, and some Amritanjan came out of the picture that day. So this is the headache balm in India, which they used to use for headache. So things like that, where Swami almost seemed to satisfy every need, every desire that you had, hoping to hook us so that we can truly get into this spiritual path. So this was the time, and subsequently, so my parents, my father was already into this Sai fold, if you will, and later on got married, and then my mother also came into this, and that's how I became part of the early phase of Bal Vikas and all that. So Swami coming into our family's life was, for me, it was very natural. Even before I was born, he was already part of our altar. So from that perspective, no big slam bang miracles or anything that occurred that brought me. It was just, that was the way of life. And so started attending Bal Vikas classes, and it used to happen in my own house. My grandmother, mother, everybody became teachers. So in different parts of the house, it used to occur. And every year, Swami used to come to Madras, and this is the year 1981. I think some of you may know. Sundaram was inaugurated actually that year, January 19th, 1981. But prior to that, Swami used to still come, and Abbotsbury used to be the place where lots of the darshans used to be given, because it's this huge campus ground where a lot of people can sit, and it came with a stage, and you could have dramas and things like that. So that was my first opportunity to, so I'm next to Swami in the role of Krishna. I was the youngest in the group. I was about 6 years old. And that was my first time where Swami was, had moved from this photograph to something more physical. The Swami is very physical. And that, for the first time, Swami spoke to me that time. He asked me, "What is your name?" That was my first interaction with him. It's a closer picture. And of course, at that time, Swami was still taking garlands, because the next story I'll show you here again. I'm on Swami's left there. This was the following year, or 2 years later. And that year, Swami took the garland actually and gave it to me in hand. So that rose garland, Sister Lakshmi spoke about the sandalwood garland. And because Swami used to take, at one point he said, don't stop garlanding me, And so that year I took the garland back home. And so Swami, from that photograph, was slowly becoming more and more physical, more and more personal. Then that's a picture at the end of the whole thing. And let's see here. So this is a few years later. I was in 5th grade at that time in Chennai. And this is inside Sundaram. What had happened was that year they had asked me to give the welcome speech when Swami would, Swami came and sat on the chair. I would have to get up and give the welcome speech. So everything was going to plan. I had practiced well. I stood up. I started the speech, except Swami changed the plan. He was sitting on the chair. He decided to get up and come and stand in front of me. So very scared. So you will see some of these pictures. I started looking elsewhere because I was very scared to look at Swami and speak. And because I was afraid I might stop somewhere, right? And then I went through the whole thing. And then at the end of it, Swami asked me, I finished the talk. So he asked me, how many days practice? So I immediately said, Swami, 8 days practice. And Swami said, no, 10 days practice. You started on this day. Like again, Sister Lakshmi mentioned, he is omnipresent, and he will reveal these things. He will be talking to you about idli and dosa, but we could get deluded and keep talking about idli and dosa. But there are these moments where he will throw this at you saying, you started on this particular day, you were sitting next to the Shirdi Sai temple. For those of you who've been to Sundaram, there's the Shirdi Baba Mandir, which actress Anjali Devi, right? She had built that, and it is right next to the main Sundaram temple. That's where we used to have practice with my Bal Vikas Guru. And Swami said, you started on that day and you practiced. So he pointed out exactly where, when, type of thing. And right after he did that, all this was, he was talking to me in a little bit of English and Tamil. And suddenly he switched and said something to me in Telugu. And I did not understand a word of Telugu at that time. And none of the people sitting around me also knew Telugu. So they couldn't even sort of tell me what it meant. So that portion was sort of completely missed. And many years later, I think 13 years later or something, in Prashanti Nilayam, I was sitting inside with a group of devotees, and Swami had asked me to come into the interview room as well. Sitting next there, and suddenly Swami, whenever, the following year I joined Swami's school, so I had spent a long time there. Particularly if you've been there right from your childhood, Swami takes great pride, and he will explain, tell everybody about all the accolades that you have and you may not even have, with the hope that you will rise up to that expectation. So Swami said many things about me, and then he told everybody, I told him to come and join my school. That is why he came and joined my school. He said this. And in my own head, I was just thinking, Swami never said this to me. Right? I thought I took the entrance exam, I applied, and I went there. And Swami immediately saw this question in my mind, but in front of Swami, it's always good to not speak, right? Speak, you show your ignorance a little bit more. So I didn't say anything, but Swami saw the question in my face. Immediately he said, you remember that day you gave this talk in Sundaram? I told you this in Telugu, he said. So this is 13 years later, a conversation with one individual where out of the two parties, one person didn't even understand what was said. And here Swami is reminding you 13 years later, saying, I told you to come and join my school, that is why you came. It is very important to pay attention to this detail because Swami, with his mission and with his organization and with his compassion and, spreads all around the world. But in the middle of all that, we should never forget that he is a personal God to each of us. And like Sister Lakshmi said, it is one thing to say, you are lucky, you spend the time then, all these things we can say. But in the process, we should never miss the point that each of us is present here because of our own personal connection with Swami. It is important to sort of continue to cherish that, continue to build that, because in the end, that is the purpose of why we come here. Anyway, so the following here, the way I thought I applied to Swami school was, we used to go to Puttaparthi often, and one day I asked my mother, there was an elephant slide in the primary school. Elephant slide, you basically go through the belly of the elephant and you come down the slide on the other side. And I asked my mother that I wanted to go and play in that because I saw a lot of the swings and all that there. And my mother said, you can't go into that compound unless you're a student of Swami. So that was my motivation, I think. Anyway, so I applied and, of course, the following year I joined the primary school. And from there on began this journey of, being close to Swami, observing him 24/7, and that is a lesson in itself. This is inside the primary school. My first love was always dancing for some reason. And as you all know, growing up in Indian families, girls are encouraged to dance, boys are not, typically. Although I know a lot of boys who subsequently learned Bharatanatyam dancing. But I always wanted to, and my father always used to tell me, learn music, that is more helpful to boys. But anyway, so the first time Swami came to the hostel, I had a chance to perform a dance in front of him. And actually, he was kind enough to, bless me with a picture. It was almost like a desire which was inside me, and, that happened. This was, I had danced to this song, Bhimsen Joshi and Lata Mangeshkar's song, I think, Bhimsen Joshi's song, Baje Muraliya Baje. So anyway, that was that, and after that I didn't dance anymore. Singing it took a lot of precedence after in my time in Swami's presence. All right, just to a little bit reiterate, so what is our relationship to Swami? When you think about it, right, it begins with an interest, like the own story I told you about my own father. It's like, let's go and see what he's about. Then you pick up a book, you read a book, then you slowly develop some trust. Maybe he's, a God-man, he can do something for me. And slowly that trust becomes faith, right? The more trust you build, it becomes faith. And then you slowly begin to accept. And growing up in, religious families, the spiritual way of life becomes a path to accepting good and bad. And that is where it becomes a beautiful way for us to explain everything may not go our way. So, particularly when things don't go our way, it is a nice way to explain why things go that way. And then you become accepting of, different things he gives you, good and bad. And then that develops into gratitude, because once you make that more an attitude for ourselves, then it's easier for us to accept the good and bad. And finally, surrender. That's almost like a last step. When we talk about Navavida Bhakti, you think about all the 9 different paths, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam. In English, basically it is listening to the stories of the Lord, singing the glories of the Lord, chanting the names of the Lord. And in this is part of Bhagavatam, where they talk about the different devotees who used each of this path, right? Padasevanam, worshipping the feet of the Lord. Vandanam, which is bowing down. Archanam, which is worship. Dasyam Sneham Atmanivedanam, which is, the servitude, friendship, and then finally it is becoming one with the Lord, merging one with the Lord. So the surrender is that last step. It's pretty much the ultimate acceptance of what the Lord has to give. So it always helps me to think about this, and love is obviously at the core of this because it's that relationship between the devotee and the Lord. So to think about this in this fashion, it helps me to understand our own life's journey, how we start with a little bit of interest, going to a class here and there, SSC class. Our teacher tells us something. And Sister Lakshmi was saying how that ecosystem is what molds you into what you do in the world. But at the core of it, it's your relationship with Swami. So that portion we should never forget. God has 4 qualities, and it's only when you cultivate them that you understand Him. They are divine love or prema, beauty or saundarya, sweetness or madhurya, and splendor, which is shobha. The development of prema is enough to add unto you the other 3. When you're so full of love for the divine in all creation, the stage is beauty. When you're immersed in the sea of universal love, you reach the acme of sweetness. When your mind loses the identity and merges in the universal mind, then there is splendor indescribable. Bottom line, Swami is saying the core of everything is love. So fill yourself with that divine love. Post joining Swami school, another aspect of things which Swami wanted me to be part of was the plays which used to occur. I'm sure you've heard from other students as well. And particularly these dramas used to occur on the day before Swami's birthday. November 22nd is the university convocation day. On that day, invariably there will be post all the ceremonies, there will be a play in the evening. And this is a big deal from a student life perspective because Swami would personally not only choose the characters and things like that in the play, but he would also be involved where he comes to the practices all the time, watch this with a lot of, he used to put a lot of effort into this. So this was the year 1988. Swami that year had decided the play for that year would be this Cheppinatlu Chestara, which is, can you practice all that you preach? For those of you who read Satyam Shivam Sundaram, it's part of volume 1, where this was a play written by Swami when he was very young himself. And the play is only got 3 acts. So basically there is this boy whose mother, father, and the teacher are the principal characters in this. This boy's name is Krishna. And his mother, all the time preaches to everybody that you should do charity, you should do donation, you should do this and that for those who need stuff. But then what happens is that day there is a very rich Brahmin who comes to the house. She brings him in, falls at his feet, does puja, takes his blessing, gives him a lot of money. But then there is a very poor blind person who comes to the door and she sends him away, doesn't give anything to that person. The father in the second act is the same thing. He explains saying you should do this and that. So he gives a lot of money to an office party, but then there is a boy who comes for education and asks for money. He does not give it to them. The character here, Krishna, watches these different people who are close to him at that point in time, his father, mother, and teacher. And each of them says one thing and does something completely different. Right? This often they tell the joke, right, where the parent tells the child, tell that when the phone rings, I'm not home. Right? So the child totally sees that it's a lie, and you're making the child tell the lie. So in the third act, the play, what happens is the teacher, that's where you see Dr. Sundarayar. I think I'm sure you all know Dr. Sundarayar. He was the teacher in the third part of the play, where the teacher is expected to finish 36 lessons, and he has only finished 24 lessons by that point in the schedule. And the inspector of schools is visiting, so he tells the students to tell the inspector that, tell him that we have finished 36. What he does is he teaches 24 and teaches the 36th lesson, which is on truth. It is the story of Raja Harishchandra, who I'm sure you all know the story, where a king who born in the same lineage as Rama, right? We are talking about Rama Navami this weekend. So King Harishchandra was born in that lineage, and he gave up everything. Family, spouse, child, all his wealth, and to that extent, even all his goodness. He gave everything away for the sake of truth. So this is the story, and then you're asked to say a lie. Right? So that is the essence of this whole play. And then the boy is totally inconsolable. He feels his father, mother, and teacher, all of them who are supposed to teach him the right things, are all saying one thing and doing something completely different. So then at the end of the play, he says, you are my only refuge. So that is the intent of this play. Hopefully I can get it moving. Yeah, okay. You went too far. Yeah, so at the end of the play, I think Swami comes up, and I think you may know some of the people who are here from Shanti Nilayam. Swami materialized a chain and gave it to me as well. But more than anything, the reason I put this up is throughout the 25 days which we practiced for this play, Swami spent a lot of time, morning and evening, coaching us on this particular thing. And when he picked me to play that part, he told me, this is a play I wrote myself, and I will teach you along the way of how to act in this particular play. So it was, at a physical level, it was an opportunity to be with Swami for the whole time. Morning, evening, he used to call us all the time for an interview, and more a pretext to give us the highest wisdom, but in the form of this play as well. Another aspect of my life in Puttaparthi, Swami had obviously seen me a few times give talks in Chennai and things like that. He had always wanted me to give talks in whether be it in the old Prashanti Nilayam, Sai Kulwant or Purnachandra Hall. That is particularly before his discourse, there are typically students speak, as I'm sure those of you who have been to Puttaparthi would have seen. And many occasions, again, a learning opportunity. So I'll tell you the story from that perspective. Early on, I noticed that, when there was a particular occasion, say Janmashtami was coming 10 days later, Swami would give me about 10 days notice saying that day you're going to speak. And then I noticed that the next time he had asked me to do it, 10 days had become 5 days. And then one particular event, it became the morning he told me and said evening you have to speak. And finally it became to the point saying get up and speak. The reason I particularly emphasize this is, I know a lot of children are here. I think Swami's expectations was always be ready. When the opportunity comes, if you're not ready, the opportunity may never come again. And this is something today I emphasize to my own kids, because it's like, that was Swami's expectations always, right? If you say stand up, chant, Rudram, and you say, Swami, I don't know Rudram, then we have lost that opportunity. Nothing for Swami in that. Similarly, here I was thinking all the time that Swami is preparing us to be prepared all the time. If he wanted you to get up and speak, get up and sing, take the opportunity. That's not the time to say my throat is not in great shape, I am sick, I am tired. We use all these excuses often. So very often, in bhajans, I always think about this. When you pass the mic and you're asked to sing, take the opportunity, because it may never come again, right? So it's a very important lesson which Swami taught through these different mechanisms. So going back to this speaking aspects of it, again, just the reason I give you more details is particularly for you to understand the amount of effort Swami puts into these things at the back. And also in the end, he will sort of give you the credit as well. One particular time, actually, if I have that picture here. Yeah. So this is, one particular time what had happened was, this was, I think, the year 1990 maybe. Yeah, Swami during Dashara days, as you all know, he does the Veda Purusha Jnana Saptaha Yajna, which is the yajna which goes on for 7 days during the Dashara time. And at that time, he had wanted a set of students to speak before his everyday discourse. So Swami had told me that, no, you speak on the 3rd day, which was the first day of the yajna, and me and one more student, I think he particularly would take a lot of interest, because he used to tell us that when you speak, make sure you sing a few songs also, so those who are sleeping will wake up. Right? He used to, it was, and those who can do it, it was more fun way of saying, bring different aspects to your speaking as well. And so he used to spend a lot of time in picking the songs and things like that. So leading up to the event, Swami had called me in multiple times, and we had prepared this speech, and again, a simple speech before Swami's discourse, and Swami's got plenty going on, but he would spend a lot of effort into something like this. Again, the reason I say that is, putting an effort, I think, go all out and put the best effort possible. And Swami was a living example of that. It's always like the two sides of the coin, right? The pursuit of perfection being on one side and detachment being on the other side. The same Swami, you will see, once the event is done, he's not sitting there and gloating about that particular event. He's not going to sit and say, look at my hospital, how much service it's doing, so many people are getting treated. All that's not happening. Whereas I think when I, perform the birthday party of my child, maybe, I will talk about it for 10 days to come saying, 50 people attended, they came and ate, the food was excellent. This is the way, we are trained in the world. But the way Swami operated was always best effort till the event, post-event, move on to the next thing. And I think that's a great example which we can practically learn in what we do in life. So on the third day, I think the talk was all set. And in fact, actually, I'll say this, most of the songs were selected. And then there was, Swami asked me, what will you start your speech with, which song? And I didn't have a particular, I suggested a few, and then Swami immediately said, no, you think about it, I'll think about it, we'll figure it out. So next day, bhajans were going on, and one of the boys was singing this bhajan, I think you all may know this. Mukti Pradayini, Prema Pradayini, Shanti Pradayini Ma, Janani Ma Janani. It's T.V. Hariharan's composition. Jaga Janani Sai Ma, Daya Karo Sai Ma. So that song, Swami said, you start your talk with this song. So I was all prepared, and on the third day, morning, Swami comes up to me and says, no, you don't speak today. You speak on the 9th day. Lot more crowd will be there. You feel your talk is very, very important, right? Swami wants to put it on the prime day. And on the 7th or 8th day, I developed a very high fever. And so what I did was I went up to Swami and I said, I'm not feeling great, so I don't know if I will be able to speak. Swami said, don't worry. Even at that time, he didn't say, you didn't have to speak. Somebody else can speak. He said, I'll send the doctor to the hostel. So I think you may know Dr. C.G. Patel, the one who arranged Swami's East Africa trip, right? He was still there at that time, and he actually came to the hostel to see me, and he gave me some medication and things like that. And I was still not feeling great. Actually, Swami made a call to the warden and asked how I was doing. So warden mentioned. And Swami said, tell him I will send a car to the hostel. He can come to the mandir. So he sent a car. I went to mandir. As soon as I got to the mandir, Swami was already in the Purnachandra hall. He used to stay in the main mandir at that time. And he was at the Purnachandra hall, and he opened the door. He made me sit down. He gave me water to drink and all that. And then he said, you speak first. And as soon as you have finished talk, you can go home and rest, he said. So, he'll put all the effort. And anyway, I went through the talk and everything. And after I finished, Swami made the student who spoke after me to say that, he was very sick. I was very sick. But Swami wanted him to speak, so he came and spoke. The reason I bring this up is, in this particular incident, I always look at it as Swami put all the effort which went around that small 10-minute talk, right? But at the same time, at the end of the whole thing, he gives the credit to the individual. And us as, leaders in this institution, which, Swami has built and, is running around the world, it's very critical that we put all the effort, but at the same time stand back and give the credit to the individual who's in the front. And it's a beautiful spiritual lesson where, again, put the best effort, but step away and, when it's the right time. All right, I will quickly, how are we doing on time? I'll just hopefully finish in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. One more aspect of life in Puttaparthi, which I spoke about, was the dramas and the plays. So this is just another example. This is 1991 convocation drama. So this particular incident has the story where, I'm sure you've heard, students say that, when even vacations happen, many students end up staying back. They don't go home because at least some students will go home, so lesser people are there to be closer to Swami. And Swami used to always say, your parents will complain. They'll say, Sai Baba has taken away you from, the kids from the parents, so you should go home. So that particular year, I had actually, it was during the Deepavali time, I had just gone home for the holiday. And next day morning, as soon as I got home, the warden called and said, Swami wants you to come back. So I immediately told my mother, I've just come for a day. Let me at least get a home-cooked meal, right? We have been in the hostel the whole time, and then we can go back. And my mother immediately said something to me. She said, if Swami's asked you to come, you should just go right away. And I left right away. And it's important because if the people around you, if my mother had just said that day, stay home, eat, you can go next day, where is the value for Swami at that point? So it's important to be surrounded by people also who facilitate this journey. That is why we always say, right, why do we come to a center? Why do we come to a satsang? The value system is the same. So everybody values Swami's presence in the center, right? That is the reason. That is the highest and that's the most important thing. So if we are lucky to have that in life, we should cherish that as well. Anyway, I went back and Swami called me in for to the interview room, and then he immediately said, this year the play is going to be in Telugu. And all of us, Telugu is not my mother tongue, and you have students from around the world. We spoke in English. That was the common language. So I could understand Telugu, but to give dialogues in Telugu would be very hard, because Swami said the play is going to be in Telugu, and I want you to play the role of the mother of Markandeya. So Markandeya is the story of, from the Shiva Purana. I think you all know he supposed to have been born to his parents after they didn't have kids for a long time. And then the father had a choice, where Shiva says, pick. You want a good son who will live only for 16 years, or you want a bad son who will live for a long time. And being, pious parents, Mrikandu and Marudvati, that is the parents of Markandeya, they pick, they say, we won't give us a child who live for a short time but will have a good name. So 16 years run by quickly, and at the end of it, he is ready to, die. And at that time, they direct him to Lord Shiva, and, Shiva comes and protects him from Yama, god of death. That is the story of Markandeya. So the whole play was in Telugu, and all dialogues were in Telugu. And at least it happens to be a principal character. And of course, when Swami told me you need to do this, I looked at the boy who was going to play the Markandeya role. His mother tongue was Hindi. So it's even worse. At least I spoke Tamil. So, but again, in front of Swami, whatever, if he asks you to do something, he will give you the ability to make that happen. So we picked up the dialogues, and Swami saw this hesitation in me because I was like, Telugu and so many dialogues, right? So he said, don't worry, that day I will come and help you tie the sari, because I was playing the mother's role, right? So anyway, that day the convocation program happened, finished, and Swami, as he promised, he came to the green room to help me tie the sari. And I'm sure the women will appreciate this. Swami made a comment saying, it should be tied in the same style as Anjali Devi had tied the sari in Sati Sakubai movie. Right? I think some of you may have seen Sati Sakubai movie. It's a Maharashtrian way of tying the sari. So Swami had pointed that out to me. Anyway, so the play started, and it was going on. This was the first scene, or the second scene. And suddenly what happens is, this is at the Shanti Vedika, which is the Hillview Stadium. And the bigger birthdays, always the program used to happen there. And suddenly I saw the warden come up from the back and said, Swami saying he can see your trousers from below the sari. So, you need to fix that, right? So this is Swami was sitting with Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma. Some of you may know he was the president of India at that time. He was the chief guest. And I was thinking, Swami is sitting and talking all, very important things. At the same time, his eye and attention to detail was perfect. If you look at Swami, after all, it was his physical body when he came out for darshan. He made sure every crease, every thing was perfect, because including grooming himself, he used to shave multiple times, just so that, because we look at him as this perfect figure, right, who is God incarnate for us. And at that point, but he's still carrying his physical frame, right? He made sure that he always looked the best, right? His hair was always in the greatest shape when he came out. Again, a very physical lesson for us all to understand that place, time, purpose, there is, be as appropriate as possible where you need to be. So that is another attention to detail story. Yeah, just pass this. So, yeah, this is the Krishna Janmashtami, which I just spoke about. In that context, I'll also quickly tell you, so that That day was the day he gave me an opportunity to sing in the Prashanti Mandir. As I'm sure you have heard from other students, the way to sing in Prashanti Mandir is Swami had to physically give you permission. It can't come from anywhere else. Maybe the most skilled singer, most skilled musician, and they may have never sung in or led bhajans in Prashanti, but they're not the greatest of singers or not the greatest of the trained voices. They may have gotten an opportunity to sing. So sometimes it's not just the ability, it is also the blessing and the right time. I think when they ask Swami and Swami gives you the opportunity. So that was the day Swami had asked me to sing. So from my 11th grade, I started singing in the Prashanti Mandir Bhajan. Pass this along. Just a few more pictures. In the interest of time, I'll pass. This is V.K. Narasimhan. I think some of you may know. He was the original editor of Indian Express in India. And then, of course, Sanatana Sarathi. He was the editor of Sanatana Sarathi for a long time. This is Swami coming to a science exhibition and having a conversation. I'll just pass some of this quickly here. This is another picture of Swami had materialized a multifaceted diamond. This was our class interview with Swami. Like I was saying, we were almost 100 people in that small interview room. Swami went around to show us different things. So, all right, time to look at something like this. Even a boulder will, through the action of sun, heat, rain, and cold, disintegrate into mud and become food for a tree. Spiritual efforts must transmute your attitude towards beings and things. So again, what we were talking about, it's important that whatever spiritual effort we put, it should show up in how we interact with people, how we interact with things. Remember, even the hardest of hearts can be softened, and the divine will sprout therein, so do not give up. This is inside Trai Vrindavan. We were just talking about this. Just pass some of this. Yeah, sports was another big deal in Lakshmi. This happens to be a day. I was also a very avid, or at least desirous of running a lot of sprint events, and I used to play the basketball. And Swami was very this thing about prize distribution. He used to give out the awards and gold medals and things like that himself. And one particular time, actually, this is another actually learning. So like Swami had given me this opportunity to sing in Mandir, and you must have heard from other bhajan singers, we all had our assigned spots in the Mandir when we sit. And for a period of about 10 days, I had not gone to bhajans because all our sporting activities were going on, competitions and things like that. On the at the end of when the valedictory function or the award ceremony was happening, Swami asked me, "You have not been in bhajans for the last 10 days." And then I said, "Swami, all the sports practices were going on." And then immediately he said, when you are assigned a particular duty, right? So as a lead singer, you are assigned this duty. It is important for you to balance everything. It is not missing one thing to do another thing. And he made that point to me because not everybody gets that opportunity. Don't miss the opportunity. That was Swami's lesson to me. So, but anyway, so this is altar competition. The reason I put all these different types of pictures is just for you to see how Swami was part of our life for anything and everything, whether it's science exhibition or building an altar for our own room, actually. He was, part of everything all the time. Anyway, that was the Kalyana Mandapam picture. So in summary, that was Swami giving the gold medal, Lakshmi, for the sprint events, I think. Yeah. I'll just pass these. And this was many years later, went back for the alumni meet. This is actually 2010, just 1 year before Swami left his physical, this thing. Even at that point, Swami always was checking on seeing how family is doing and all different things. So I had participated in the alumni program that day in the morning. Anyway, in conclusion, actually, I want to highlight a few things here. So I'll pass this. Yeah, this is an important one which I'll point out. Let me see here. It's actually bulleted. Is there a way you can just hit the, yeah. If you just hit, yeah, I think there are about 7 or 8 bullets in that. This slide. That's okay. That's okay. I'll speak to it. Essentially, what's happening is, Swami in 1964. Is that what it is? Right. Anyway, so Swami had himself given a definition of who an ideal Sai devotee is. Very often, we use the word very freely, right? I'm also a Sai devotee, you're also a Sai devotee. In the end, we always say, Swami should say you're a devotee. It is not us saying we are Sai devotees. So Swami had given his own definition of the word, of who an ideal Sai devotee is. And he's got a list of characteristics which he expects, right? People who speak softly, gently, people who show compassion for everybody, people who see God in anything external, right? Seeing a mirror of themselves in everything else. And that, hopefully I'll try to show it to you tomorrow when we talk. I think, and it's almost like a blueprint for me, particularly when I look at Swami's mission. And, the 100 years, it's wonderful to celebrate and look back, but we have to make our lives worthy of his... That's okay, that's okay, that's okay. No, that's okay. No, that's okay. But I think... what next for us? What is the next 100 years? I think that is something to think about as well. Because once we look back and look at all the beautiful things Swami did in his physical sojourn, I think we will be doing more. Our gratitude to him would be, looking at our own characters, looking at our own relationship which we build with him. So he's outlined the expectations of being a true Sai devotee. So we'll talk about it tomorrow morning. But before we close, I'll also, this Swami is... very dear to us. We have had numerous experiences of him in his physical presence, in his, in his subtle presence. Wherever we are, he connects with us. So I'll end with one story which I always find beautiful. So there was a lady who was sitting in the Prashanti Darshan, and she was trying to talk to Swami about something, and multiple days Swami was ignoring, and he was passing by her. So one day she lost patience and looked at Swami and said, "You were born amongst rocks, you were brought up amongst rocks, your heart is a big rock." She yelled out in darshan because she was in so much pain. And so this is very true, right? Because Puttaparthi is a place of, you all know, it's ant hills and, rocks, and, the terrain is very tough, rough. So, Swami immediately looked at her, he smiled and he said, "It's true that I was born amongst rocks, brought up amongst rocks, but at the same time, my heart is as soft as butter. It just needs a little bit of warmth from the love that you can give." So, which is where the devotee's connection, that one step we take towards melting that butter which he is, it will make all our lives sanctified. So on this weekend when we are observing Ramanavami, I'm very, very grateful for giving me this opportunity to be here. Been in Ottawa Sai Center many, many years ago, I think more than a decade ago. Lovely to be back and be with you all this weekend. Thank you. Sai Ram.
Tell me how to reach. Huh? How to reach.
घनश्यामा प्रभु कृष्ण कन्हैया बंसीधर प्रभु कृष्ण कन्हैया तू ही मेरे माँ बाप भैया माँ बाप भैया घनश्यामा सुंदरा देवकी तनया हे नंदलाला दीन बांधवा द्वारकनाथा देवकी तनया हे नंदलाला दीन बांधवा द्वारकनाथा राधा हृदय निवासा हरे कृष्णा राधा हृदय निवासा हरे कृष्णा मधुसूदना मुरलीधरा मधुसूदना मुरलीधरा ईश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा परतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा घनश्यामा सुंदरा देवकी तनया हे नंदलाला दीन बांधवा द्वारकनाथा राधा हृदय निवासा हरे कृष्णा मधुसूदना मुरलीधरा परतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा परतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा घनश्यामा Remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
Remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, remind
Remind me, my Lord, who I am.
Remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
I am home, I am home, eternal home. I am home, I am home, eternal home. Through this life of distraction and of illusion, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
This life of distraction and of illusion, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
I am truth, I am peace, divine bliss.
I am peace, divine bliss.
Ananda Swarupa, He Prema Swarupa, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
Ananda Swarupa, Prema Swarupa, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
I am love, I am love, pure love.
I am love, pure love.
I am love, I am love, pure love.
I am love, pure love.
Remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
Remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
I am home, I am home, eternal
I
home.
am home, eternal home.
Through this life of distraction and of illusion, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
This life of distraction and of illusion, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
I am truth, I am peace, divine bliss.
I am truth, I am peace, divine bliss.
Ananda Swarupa, He Prema Swarupa, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
Ananda Swarupa, Prema Swarupa, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
I am love, I am love, pure love.
I am love, pure love.
I am love, I am love, pure love.
I am love, pure love.
Remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, who I am.
Om Sri Sai Ram. Our warm welcome for those who are visiting us for the first time. Thank you, Brother Srikant and Sister Lakshmi, for being here with us today on this auspicious Sri Navami occasion. And your experiences and stories with Swami have really transported back to Prashanti Nilayam. And that was the goal for all of us, to create Prashanti Nilayam around us. And you have did just that, and thank you. And then thank you, Uncle Bhaskaran, for organizing all this for us. And everything happens according to Swami's will, and thank you, Swami. And so this doesn't end here, it'll continue into tomorrow. So the group 3, group 4 SSC starts at 9 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock we will do the slokas, and then their session will start at 10:30. So I suggest everybody eat good breakfast and come, because we are not going to break for SSC. Okay? Thank you. And then we will continue into Gayatri and then Aarti sequence. Okay? Thank you. So.
ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। 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 ॐ